What's up, everyone? Getting in our last recap here for this week. Tomorrow's NFP, so we'll just let NFP play out without us. As we start on this hourly. Beautiful delivery here into our sell side target, right? So if I just zoom out quickly, right, this is our target we've been looking at all week, ever since Monday. Put in that 3 drives higher into the higher time frame buy side. It then broke structure, created the breaker block, as well as our 1 hour inversion fair value gap here. So we were looking for lower prices from this area. Right, as you see, we retrace into it. Candle bodies respect that level perfectly. Got the huge sell-off. We spoke here on Tuesday how we would then look for our breaker block that was formed to reject price and send it lower. Right, lo and behold, here on Wednesday, even with the whipsaw of FOMC, candle bodies still remain inside of that breaker. And then we get the another break lower. At this point, we had dragged out our 1 hour fair value gap. It offered support initially. So once that gets broken, we would expect it to act as an inversion. And you see today, we trade up into it, reject from there, giving us even a little bit of a institutional order flow entry drill into this 1 hour fair value gap. Right, so see how this candle just wicks into it barely. And from there, we give us that sell-off to complete now this sell model here that we were looking for. So beautiful week this week, really clean delivery into this sell side. Here on that 15, right, you still see that hourly transposed. Here, if I now refine it to the 15 minute, you'll see that 15 minute just barely gets tapped. So we create that power of 3 in London, where we manipulate up, clear out this short-term high, return into our inversion, break back below the midnight open with a volume imbalance and fair value gap. And from there, right, we would just expect that to hold. So you see London tries to reach back above it, just clears a short-term high. So right, takes some more buy-side liquidity before ultimately just trading lower and now breaking structure here and continuing to break structure heading into New York. So we hopped on a few minutes before 9:30. So initially, as we were just following price, we understood, right, just bearish order flow being put into place. So after we cleared this initial buy side here and break back below that midnight open, right, expected to act as resistance. And you see how we just continue to trend lower, right, creating YouTube models here, short-term high cleared during this rollover period, breaking structure lower, fair value gap left behind. Right, that holds us, creates another break in structure, while at the same time now this, right, so we've created a YouTube model and form another one inside of the already created. So you see how the market is very fractal. Short-term high cleared again. Market structure shift here. And now, right, you see that 1 minute fair value gap does hold us. Initially, as we just trade lower heading into New York. We eventually do just get a slight retracement, right? Because we've been trending lower during this rollover period. So the New York session just returns up to clear some buy side. So see, we just clear buy side here. And now on a higher time frame, just returning into this YouTube model setup we see. So if I show you right on the 2 minute, you'll notice it returning into the fair value gap, volume imbalance. So just real clean, bearish delivery here. At this point, heading into the 9:30 open, we had created equal highs. So we were just observing. Would price want to give one more run up just to run out those equal highs? Right, so would price want to just give one more bounce off this 8:30 level, clear out some equal highs once more before returning and selling off again? But as we see, right, couldn't even reach back above those equal highs. So we do clear this little short-term high here, as well as this one. So that's about as high as we get. That short-term high gets cleared, and from there, right, we get that break and really start selling off. This was an indication that price was going to remain heavy and continue to sell off until we got to our sell side target. If we're creating equal highs like this, and price is failing to even reach into those before breaking lower, right, just showing that the market is heavy here. You'll see as we break structure, now breaking this low, we do it, leaving behind here a 1 minute fair value gap. So we called out during the stream how our attention now lied on this area, because not only did we break a low with displacement, this level here is also the new day opening gap. So if I was to just show you right, the opening gap from yesterday, take the closing price and the opening price. Notice how this fair value gap is beautifully aligned with that new day opening gap. That new day opening gap is almost acting as the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. So that's really why I like this area here. And we don't expect these higher ones to get filled, right? This higher fair value gap, this becomes a breakaway gap, because not only are we underneath the breaker block, at this moment, right, price is already underneath the breaker, but we also have that new day opening gap that will stop price from reaching up higher. From here, we put in a few bullish structure shifts, right? This is where retail gets trapped, faked out, even SMC traders that are simply trading patterns just because, right? If they see breaks in structure like this, they're going to look for price to continue higher. Well, we understand we're simply looking for price to return into this premium here. So in order to get to that premium, it's going to have to create these bullish market structure shifts, but it doesn't mean that they are going to continue. They're simply false signals. And as we see, right after hitting that new day opening gap, give a retracement, we point out that this volume imbalance now should hold. It becomes our inversion volume imbalance, and it was paired with this now inversion fair value gap. So as we see us breaking from this premium, right, creating now new premiums, we expect these ones to hold. And we have to sit through this choppiness, but we understand, right, that this high really shouldn't be violated after trading up into that volume imbalance. So we're fine just waiting to either see this high get broken or for just our sell side target to get delivered to here. And as we see, right, price tries once more to reach up through that volume imbalance, wicks through it, fails to even close the candle body, still above that inversion, and we get that huge now displacement right through this sell side here. So right there, real low resistance at that point into this sell side. At this moment, we still hadn't hit our right higher time frame. So we create this swing low just above right that higher time frame swing low here. And that is why we understand that this is a false low, simply engineering more liquidity that price can take as it right delivers into its higher time frame objective here. Once we deliver into this higher time frame sell side pool, we had mentioned how we would want to see if a 3 drives pattern would form. So 1 swing low, 2 swing low, 3 swing lows, right? So that pattern does end up forming exactly at 10:30. So just as we were kind of forecasting, we would look for that 10:30 low to be put in place, right? So this swing low comes in just at 10:30, so perfect delivery there. We get that now retracement, breaking structure here, just a shallow one, which is why right price gives us a little bit of a deeper retracement into this little structure here. A little bit of consolidation, and we finally get that true real right displacement up and through now. Old highs creating a real market structure shift. And that's when we said now that this 1 minute fair value gap would hold us and deliver us into our higher time frame target now. At this point, right, it's also a mitigation block forming. So a swing low, swing high, and now a higher low. Once we see that get broken with displacement, we understand that that is a mitigation block. So at that last up close candle here, just all continuing to align in this area to support price. We trade back into that fair value gap, just sit there for a little bit. That 1050 to 1110 macro is taking place. And then we finally get that expansion and redelivery back into now. Right, if we go to the 15, we spoke about how on the 15 minute, this 15 minute fair value gap was originally left open. So we would just look for that 15 minute to now get traded back up and into. So right, that's that 15 minute here. And you see it's also aligned with that new day opening gap. So it's just going to act as a magnet on price. So as we trade into it once, right, wick up into it, into these lower time frame fair value gaps as well. Create a rejection block here. So creating now a rejection block as we're returning into a premium. And then you see, right, price break structure lower with below this low with displacement, leaving that breakaway gap, using this gap here, this fair value gap, as the premium that holds. And now after clearing out right buy side and returning into a premium, because think this is a buy side target here, so we've swept buy side, hit a premium, price is simply going to return now and look for that sell side. So you'll see now how, right, we get that beautiful delivery really into sell side here now, where we're respecting all the premium arrays that are being formed. So order blocks continue to deliver us lower as we're creating these breaker blocks, swing high, low, higher high gets broken, right? This level here then gets respected. As we see, creating volume imbalances and just continuing to trend lower into the sell side. We hit that a few minutes into lunch. So then we would expect during lunch, right, for the opposing liquidity to be taken. And it's also smart to remember that we're trading off of, right, we've just delivered into a daily liquidity pool. And it's Thursday before NFP. So the fact that we've delivered into this target already, right, we're just expecting consolidation. So that's why we kind of immediately go into now a seek and destroy environment after delivering into a higher time frame objective. Right, because if I just kind of zoom out, you'll see how we have, right, this swing high, we clear a swing low, we clear that swing high, we clear a swing low, we go back up and take out that swing high. So after delivering into a higher time frame objective, we expect consolidation. Understanding that and understanding how the lunch hour will often attack opposing liquidity created prior, we now would look for price to return back up into this range and now just start targeting all the buy side. If you look here, you'll see that we form a breaker. So in the form of this low, high, lower low, you see it gets broken here with, right, that little fair value gap. So now we have our fair value gap, and aligned with that is also, right, our breaker block here. So see how price returns into actually just that 1 minute, taps the breaker high perfectly, and from there continues to rally. Right, this breaker ends up holding us the remainder of the afternoon as well as the 1 minute fair value gap. So this is an important area because it is the reversal signature that gets created as we're heading into lunch. And some of you may ask, right, why not this one here is the breaker where we have a low, high, lower low? Well, I like to use the swing high that is an intermediate swing point. So you'll see that this swing high here has this swing high to the left and this swing high to the right. So this becomes an intermediate swing point. So when this is broken, that's more significant than just this short-term high being broken. And that's why we would look for the fair value gap that breaks the intermediate term high to act as the one that offers us support. From here, right, we just continue to trade up and attack, now that buy side. So as we spoke about the opposing liquidity that's left behind prior to lunch, will get targeted now in that lunch hour. So buy side here, and then the swing high created prior to the lunch session. You'll see how that buy side gets, right, traded up and through here at this candle. So right as we leave that lunch hour, head into the afternoon, we deliver into this buy side target. Notice what the high of this swing ends up being. Well, it's just that new day opening gap high, right? So see how price continues to reference these levels. And I mean, look at that precision there. how this candle wicks up and through it. And from that point, right, this wick becomes a rejection block aligned with a new day opening gap. So really, right, what is this a sign of? This is a miniature form of what it did the first time, trading into a new day opening gap and creating a rejection block. So now we've done the same thing after clearing our buy side target. So from here, right, we would just look for lower prices again. And we see how we create now the YouTube model in the form of this short-term high being cleared, returning into a premium in the form of that new day opening gap. We now break structure here at this low. Candle body closing below it. And now, right, this fair value gap here gets traded into. So now we just continue to bounce back and forth, creating that seek and destroy environment. At this point now, the premiums start getting respected again. So we now respect from here, break structure lower, right, break below this low. Respect here, this fair value gap. Finally break back below that new day opening gap. So once that happens, we would expect that new day opening gap to act as resistance. And it's paired with, right, this order block here. So that's just another good level to look to hold price. Right, you see that precision here. Where price is wicking into it, new day opening gap holding the candle bodies perfectly. From here we get another break in structure. Fair value gap here gets traded into. And now we just deliver into, right, a sell side target here. So you see how price is just bouncing from premium to discount after delivering into a higher time frame objective. Remember, we also have, let me drag it back out, that original 1 minute fair value gap we had mentioned. That's what is holding price here. Right, so we're clearing sell side and returning just into this discount. Right, you see that there. So you see how perfectly these candle bodies respect that fair value gap. Once we hit this sell side, well, what would we expect? Right, for us to now return into and start targeting buy side again. So just continuing to bounce, right? You'll see how we went from this sell side, we return up, clear this high. So now we've cleared buy side. But notice how we still remain really inside that order block. And from there, we reject, come back again and clear sell side. So already inside of the seek and destroy, we're now creating another miniature seek and destroy. After sell side gets cleared, what do? Reverse and attack buy side again. So our real back and forth here in the afternoon, not really allowing anyone to establish a position. And right, we wouldn't be looking to trade this anyway, because we understand higher time frame target for the week has already really been hit. This swing low here is not only an hourly, but also a daily swing low. Right, so we've delivered into a daily target. So at this point, we just expect consolidation, as I keep on saying. So you see, right, we just consolidate into the close after creating this little seek and destroy here. So pretty clean delivery this morning into our higher time frame target. And right, still was able to forecast that return into our 15-minute fair value gap. That new day opening gap ends up holding us right the remainder of that day. And we really, right, you see here in that higher time frame, how we really, after clearing that sell side, just consolidated the rest of the day. So going into tomorrow, right, really no bias at all. We'll let tomorrow play out without us. So we'll go ahead and right, call it a week here. We'll get back to it on Monday. Until then, thanks for watching and be safe, everyone.